have any thoughts on how consumer behaviour will be affected long term by the current recession?
I think what the current recession does is highlights in people's mind what they're after. In other words, it makes them focus on, are they getting good value for money? Do they actually like the service that they have? They're making choices and they're becoming more discerning. And sometimes they're going towards stronger brands as a result, or they're going for better value. And I think what you have is a movement towards, I guess, the quality end on reinforcing a comfort and a safety in a brand, and then on the value end on what can I get for my money if it's more scarce, and what can I do about it. Over the longer term, I think what will happen is people will just know their own discerning palette of consumption a little bit better. They'll probably be a little bit tighter with it because credit cards and credit in general will pull back, maybe not as tight as it is now, but it won't be as loose as it was before. That will then combine with an experience where they've already tightened in their discerning attitudes, and the longer term will lead towards a kind of more focused consumer who knows a little bit more what's on their mind, what they want.
Brilliant, thank you. And have you seen much of this in your own sector?
Our sector has been a bit of flight towards quality brands, in the sense that in the last 12 months we've done better than the other two main rivals, which are Starbucks and Costa. And in fact, what's happened is people have largely gone to Costa and to Caffè Nero rather than Starbucks. And I think that's reflecting that Starbucks has kind of lost its way with the consumer on the quality of its coffee and what they have to offer the consumer. The consumer has focused in on where they have a relationship with a brand in their daily ritual of having coffee or having meetings, and said, actually, we'll go towards these brands rather than this one. So I think, yes, you have seen it. A difference of -7% like-for-like versus +1, in our case, in a very down market, is a huge differential.
Brilliant. Fantastic answer. So this is a marketing-specific question. Do you believe marketing skills need to change? And if so, to what degree?
I think one of the things that is happening with marketing right now, which is slightly different than necessarily even the recovery of the recession period, is as orientation towards using the web. And many more people are becoming connected in through the internet, and the internet will have a lot more play in people's lives, and in fact it has a huge play already. Anybody who's under 30 is really driven by what's going on in the web. So it will be a device that's increasing in its importance over time, over the coming 10 years, and it will have a lot more connection into people's lives, and stores and high street connections with people on a personal level will be something on an emotional, personal connection, but a lot of information and a lot of sort of correspondence connected to marketing will also be through the internet, and I think that will be by far the biggest change in the next 10 years.
What do you think categorises the strongest brands nowadays?
I think a very strong understanding and clarity about what they're delivering and where they want to be positioned. I think if you don't have a very clear continuity of understanding of where you are with the customer, and that hitting some spot that has, I don't know, it registers with them emotionally or at a visceral level, which I think is critical, then you will drift. And you may be doing okay 1 minute, but in a downturn you'll drift away because you haven't reached that sweet spot in a customer or in a consumer that really reaches them. So you have to do that through quality, you have to do that through a sort of image, you have to do that through integrity, you have to give them something that registers with them on why they want to be there with you, and you have to be very, very focused about it.
And how do you intend to keep your brand strong for the next 50 years?
50 years?
Yes. Everything we're doing is about the next 50 years.
The next 50 years? My goodness, that's a long time. Well, I'm not sure I can address 50 years, but what I will say is over the course of the next 10 years perhaps, I think what we want to do is do a lot of what we've already been doing, which is trying to create a neighborhood gathering spot that's really a comfort zone for people to come to, away from their home, away from work, that they actually can meet friends and they can have a rapport with the people in our stores with a core product of coffee, and then other things that naturally surround that is a great item that they could get for a low price. What we really want to do is create this sort of home away from home and make it into a community gathering spot where you can't get in a very fractional sort of very, very disappearing state of community attitude. How can you blend people together? And this is a format that works.